So I am really late on episode 7 and 8 of The Bad Batch because E3 took up most of my time last week. So I'm just going to combine both those episodes into this one video. I don't have as much to say about them because I thought they were the best episodes since the premiere. So I have less to nitpick, I guess. So let's just get right into it. So as soon as I saw this opening scene where there was a space chase and there was like some creature in a cage, I was kind of scared that it was yet another side quest like the previous few episodes. And I was like, great, we're still not moving the plot forward. But turns out I was wrong. So we have more Sid, and it's to me it's crazy that they're still working for this lady after she seems kind of shady. And then they tease this mysterious figure again for a bit. That clone armor had me thinking it was maybe Obi-Wan. But then I was like, well, isn't he still on Tatooine? Maybe he's taking a vacation from Tatooine. But then I was like, probably not. That'd be stupid of him to leave Tatooine and potentially be caught by the Empire, because the whole reason he's there is to hide out until Luke is old enough to train. But then I was watching and it was like, oh, it's Rex, and I'm like, oh, duh, of course it's Rex. They mentioned it before in the show, and I kind of expected him to be in here at least once, so that's pretty cool. Maybe we'll see how he goes from the end of the Clone Wars Season 7 to him like hiding on that desert with Gregor and Wolf and Rebels. I don't know, that would be cool to see that transition. This was one of the better Wrecker moments where he reunites with Rex and hugs him. Pretty wholesome. I like this moment where Rex finds out that they still have chips, and Rex is like, oh no, you guys are going to snap any moment. Which this kicks off the rest of the plot where they have to go and get their chips removed. And then we go to Braca, which I thought was interesting because, well, naturally, our brains go to whether or not we're going to see Cal Kestis. But then you think about it more and it's like, well, Order 66 just happened. He just escaped with his life. And he's still a little kid. So he's probably not here yet on Braca. I don't know how long he had been there during Jedi Fallen Order. I don't remember if they mentioned how long he was there. This show just continues to look absolutely stunning at times. You love to see it. You'd love to see Rex hanging out with clones again. You know, I could just make a montage of all the incredible looking shots and animation in this episode and just call it a day, because man, there's a lot. By the way, the water effects in this look incredible. Looks honestly Pixar quality. I have no idea what this creature was. It probably wasn't a Dianoga, although Tech mentions those in the next episode, but it could be a Mamacor. You know, the weird creature that ate Grogu and Mando. That's one mangy womp rat. This was kind of freaky when Wrecker finally succumbed to the chip and he snaps out of his usual goofy self and starts being all clinical and articulate about executing Order 66. It's weird to see him act like that. This whole scene of him chasing Omega was straight out of a slasher film. Wrecker was like Michael Myers, just slow walking towards everyone and tanking all their hits. Although I do really like this episode, I gotta say it's a little far-fetched and unbelievable to me that this ship still has any power at all, even backup power. I really like this quiet moment with Rex where he doesn't say anything, and he's just looking over his helmet, probably thinking about his years in the Clone Wars and wondering what the future holds for him without the Republic, because that was his whole life. His whole life was structured around fighting for the Republic. More of this stuff, please, Bad Batch. I want to see more of this in the show. I wish it hadn't taken half the season to finally get some character development for Wrecker, because I'm actually starting to like him, when I just found him annoying for the first 5 or 6 episodes. I really loved how they handled Rex's exit here, or Rexit, as I like to call it. Hunter tells him to hit them up if he's ever in a bind, and Rex just says nothing, and he just nods and disappears into the smoke. So cool. I'm guessing we probably won't see him again in this show, but if I had to guess, the next time we will see him is probably in live action form with Tamora Morrison playing him. At least one hopes so. I would love to see him in some Clone Wars flashbacks in the Kenobi show. This episode ends with some scrappers finding them and snitching on them to the Empire. And the scrapper's design is pulled straight from Jedi Fallen Order. That's what Cal was wearing when he was doing that job. But that's really all I had to say about that episode, so I'm just going to move straight on into episode 8, which is the halfway point of the show. Is if there is 16 episodes, like I believe there is, then we are officially halfway through the Bad Batch. And unfortunately, I think I've enjoyed I've enjoyed a lot of them, but I think the only pretty good ones, there's maybe 4 or 5 pretty good ones, so out of 8. Maybe 4. So that's half, but I mean, it could be worse, I suppose. It could only get 2. So this episode is called Reunion, and we're back at Kamino. So we're getting more of Crosshair and his crew. I mean, it took long enough, and right on time for the midpoint of the season. You know, I'm sensing an irritating trend with shows like this and Mandalorian and probably future Star Wars shows, where the only significant plot episodes are the first 2, and then a couple in the middle of the season, and then the last 2, and then the rest are filler, of course. It drives me nuts. Walking Dead used to do this back when I watched that. It would be the premiere, the mid-season finale and then the finale were the only important plot elements. Because they have to stretch it out to get as many viewers as possible. I really love the drama going on here still between the Kaminoans and Admiral Rampart. They just keep butting heads over what to do. I really think this conflict will end with the Empire just wiping out this whole planet. Because they really don't have any use for them anymore. You know, I actually like this Wrecker scene. I know, crazy, right? He scares the bejesus out of Omega by having her defuse a bomb, but obviously it wasn't active. I would have criticized the scene if it was a live bomb, but the writer for this episode knew better than to do that. That would have been really dumb. I guess I never thought about what proton torpedoes looked like when not being fired. I didn't think they'd be a giant canister shell. Kinda thought they were pretty small. These big things are fired out of X-Wings? Maybe they're scalable and the ones Luke fires at the Death Star are smaller? I don't know. This is like desktop background material. Round of applause to the artists making these visuals. This could be a painting I'd have on my wall. Man, it's like every 20 seconds. This show just looks... mwah, chef's kiss. I really wonder when we're going to find out what's going on with Omega, because they've teased it for half the season now, and I'm starting to get impatient for the answers. It is about freaking time. I've been waiting for the showdown since the premiere of the show. Oof, just look at that, man. That looks amazing. This show has movie quality a lot of the time, like Pixar quality, like I said earlier. I really like this confrontation between the Bad Batch and Crosshair's crew, and the creative way they got out of this bind. And that creative way to get out of this bind was... that. I mean, this was awesome. Those cannons have some of my favorite sound design in all of Star Wars. Ever since that scene in Revenge of the Sith with these firing and the shells being ejected onto the floor with that weird sound. Bless you, Ben Burtt. You make the absolute best sound design. Dude, why did you bring a flamethrower here? For what? Like, it made sense back when you were clearing out that camp on Onderon, but not here. Just bring a gun. Okay, that was awesome. He just chucked that at a dude. This is an unusual change of pace. Am I actually chuckling at some Wrecker dialogue? Yep, yes I am. For the second time this episode, they find themselves trapped in a pretty dire situation, and Tech and Echo single-handedly save the day. Single-handedly indeed. I can't help but think this is a nod to the infamous B-movie Plan 9 from Outer Space. I see you, Dave Filoni. I know what you're doing. Dude, that is so cool. This was probably the best set piece of the show so far. That is one gnarly sunburn. Shouldn't his face, like, melt off like that dude in Raiders of the Lost Ark? I guess he's not close enough for that. You know, he's gonna be disfigured from this, and will probably screw up his eyesight. I wonder if his character arc will be that the Empire will no longer have any use for him, since he's no longer a good shot, and his eyes are ruined. So maybe he will go back to the Bad Batch? I guess time will tell. At this very moment, I knew to expect some big character reveal. My mind kept going to Cal Kestis because we're on Braca, but I had to keep reminding myself that he's too young still. I guess bravo and good job with the restraint writers, because if I had been making this show, I'd probably try and find a way to write him in. Dude. This reveal was mind-blowing. I kind of freaked out at this. I honestly should have done a live reaction. It would have been great. Cad Bane was the last person I expected we'd see again. It's been like, what, 8 years or something since we saw him last? Like early Clone Wars stuff? Season 3 or 4 maybe? 5 at the latest? I don't remember. I always wanted him to return somehow, and I wondered how they would do it. But this was so well done. With the Western music coming in and the slow pan up to reveal his new outfit. And hat, of course. Oh, and Seth Green is back too. What was that guy's name? Like Toto or something? I mean, he's keeping it a secret, but Jabba definitely hired him, right? Oh man, I hope this ends up being a rivalry between bounty hunters going after Omega. So we can finally get that unfinished Clone Wars scene between Cad and Boba. You know, the one that they showed off, I think, at one of the Star Wars celebrations where during the standoff, Boba, I think, loses to Cad and he gets the iconic dent in his helmet from that. Daniel Logan apparently recorded a lot of dialogue for those scenes, but they never made them. So maybe they could somehow reincorporate that or get Daniel Logan back to do some new scenes. That'd be neat. I'm still crossing my fingers that Daniel Logan will somehow appear in the Book of Boba Fett. And speaking of that show, man, I hope they keep Cad alive so he can be in the Book of Boba Fett in live action. I could watch a whole show about their rivalry. Because at that point in the story, Jabba's dead. If Cad Bane's still around, there's going to be a rivalry between who's can be the better bounty hunter. Not sure how they would pull off Cad Bane in live action, but I'm sure they could figure it out. Maybe he'd be like half CG. I don't know. Although they've done Duros characters before, right? With just puppets? I mean, A New Hope, I think, had a Duros dude in the cantina, so there's probably a way to make it look good. Okay, this is amazing. A Western standoff between Cad Bane and Hunter. Could this possibly be any cooler? No, I don't think so. Yup, I saw that coming. Nobody beats Cad Bane in a standoff, not even Hunter. But they ain't killing him off already. There's no way he's dead. Oh, poor little guy. He's kind of annoying, but he doesn't deserve that. I've already heard some dumb theories like, does Crosshair become Dengar just because of the bandages on his head? But guys, no. Dengar was already in Clone Wars. Calm down. That's not happening. I absolutely love the POV shots here from inside Hunter's visor. It's not really something we've seen yet. The direction overall this episode has been phenomenal. What a cliffhanger for the rest of the season. Omega is gone and she's in the hands of freaking Cad Bane. That's the last sentence I thought I'd say about this show. So there you have it. That's episode 7 and 8 of The Bad Batch. And that's also the halfway point of the show. My thoughts overall on the first half of this series, though, is, like I said before at the top, I think that there's only maybe half the episodes are pretty good and half of them just feel like filler. I may have enjoyed some of those, but yeah, I do think that they kind of just spin their wheels a bit. The show is better than I expected it to be. I didn't know if we were getting something closer to Clone Wars or something, God forbid, closer to Resistance, which, oh man, that show is not good. But luckily, it seems like we're getting more of the former. I hope from here on out, there's as little filler as possible, hopefully none, and it's just 8 intense episodes of what happens from here on out. Them trying to hunt down Cad and get Omega back. Maybe somehow bring Boba Fett into this, I don't know how. But I actually do think that's likely because the next show coming from Lucasfilm is the Book of Boba Fett, so I feel like they would do that to tee up that next show. And they've already had Bib Fortuna in this, and the Rancor, so I feel like they're slowly going that way. But I would kill to see Cad Bane in live action interacting with Boba Fett in that show. If that's that whole show, it's just Boba versus Cad, inject that directly into my veins because I want that. What did you guys think of these 2 episodes? Sorry this is so late, but like I said, I was busy with E3 and other things. Let me know if you're as excited about Cad Bane's return as I am. From here out, it'll be probably back to normal, where I do each episode once a week and do the proper breakdown. So I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.